Hi there, Jean Greer here at Stylish Fireplaces. Today I want to talk to you about how to make an electric fireplace look more realistic. This is a question that comes up a lot online and we have blogged about it, but I also wanted to address it here in the showroom. So, a couple of things I would say first and foremost. In electric fireplaces, when it comes to flame technology, you do get what you pay for. So if you're willing to invest in the latest flame technology, which is going to cost a little more, generally speaking, and invest in a manufacturer that puts a lot of R&D into the flame technology, like many other things that you're going to put into your home, you will get what you pay for. And the flames will take care of themselves, and you won't have to really work at making them look realistic because the manufacturer's done that for you. The second thing I would say is installation and design. If you're going to take an inexpensive electric fireplace, or any electric fireplace for that matter, and just hang it on the wall because it is possible, and not think of it as a fireplace and think of it more as an art piece, then that's what it is. So to ask that to then look realistic seems contradictory. So if you take the electric fireplace and install it the way you would any other fireplace and think about the design and make it look like a fireplace, then you will get a more realistic appearance. So those two things we want to address right up front. Having said that, I'm standing in front of a couple of our mid-range Napoleon units. So I'm not standing in front of our best, most expensive flame technology here. I want to show you some tricks on how to take just about any electric fireplace and make it look more realistic, because there are ways that almost any electric fireplace is going to look a little better for you. So behind me you see two different models. The one at the top has crystals in it and lots of colored lights going on. The one at the bottom we've set up with some driftwood logs that come with the unit. And these are the same model actually. So they can look quite different just by what we put inside and how we control the flames and the lights. So the first thing to think about is, if your idea of realistic has logs in it, then put logs in the fireplace and purchase one that can handle the logs. So one of the challenges with a lot of the newer models is they're quite slim. People are demanding that they fit into a 2x4 or a 2x6 framing in their wall. And that's fine, but the slimmer that fireplace becomes, the less likely it is that we can find a log or a driftwood that will fit inside that very slim ledge inside the unit. So think about what real means to you, and if crystals just don't cut it, then focus on getting something that has logs in it. Beyond that, it's all about how we set the lights inside these units. So you can see I've got red turned on in the top unit here, and sort of the purpley violet colored flames in the bottom. There's lots of blue going on, and those are things I can control. So let's focus on the top one and get that looking more realistic, and then we'll focus on the bottom one, and you'll start to see how those changes in lighting can really affect the realism of the flames and the realism of the whole fireplace. And these are things to look for on any of the electric fireplaces that you're buying, because they may not have all of the same settings. Some of them won't have the down lighting. Some of them may not have lights under the crystals, although most do now. And some of them, the flames won't change color. So just work on the settings that you do have control over. So let's play around with this top one. I'm going to step away so that you can see what's going on. First thing we want to do is eliminate the blue flame. So with these units, I have a choice of yellow, orange, or blue. When I take away the blue, that violet goes away as well, because what's happening is the different colors are layering over each other, and when we put the orange and the yellow with the blue, we get violets and pinks looking in the flames. So we want to take away and focus on orange and yellow flames. So take away the blue. Then we want to play with these down lights. So I personally think that if you want it to look more real, there isn't a down light that's going to help you with that. So I like the down lights off. So immediately I can see the flames a little more. Now I need to deal with this green going on under the crystals here. So I'm going to adjust that. I can leave it off, which I think looks the most natural. If I want the crystals on, I need to find a color that looks natural. Green doesn't do it for me. Maybe red, and I can see when I look at this in a photo, the red generally comes across as just a more intense flame, but it is definitely red. Possibly yellow, but their yellows tend to have a bit of a green cast to them. Pink, no. White, maybe. This one is rotating through multiple colors, and that's fun as a light show. Maybe in the summer when I want to play around with the fire a little bit and not have it feel so warm and fireplacey. But I'm going to go back to red. That's about as natural as I can make this look with the crystals. But again, I've taken away the downlights. I've changed the underlighting under the crystal bed to something that is at least more natural, more in line with flames and glowing coals or something along those lines. Let's focus on the bottom one. So the bottom one, remember, these are the same fireplace model, but the bottom one we set up with the driftwood kit that comes with the unit. And then there's some crushed glass underneath the driftwood. So again, let's turn off the downlight, because as long as those downlights are on, I really can't make this look like a fireplace. So we need to get those off. Now it looks a little less like an aquarium and I'm starting to look more like a fireplace. Let's get rid of the blue flames. And we've gone to the orange and yellow. I can play around with more orange, more yellow to make them more intense. And then I need to deal with the crystal bed underneath. Right now it's green. We definitely don't want green. The red isn't bad. This isn't bad either. With this crushed glass that's underneath obscuring some of the color, this is sort of a yellowy color. It makes it look like the flames are a little more intense under the logs. Pink, blue, not so much. And we definitely don't want those colors rotating. So I could leave the crystal bed off. I actually, with the crushed glass, like to have a little bit of light under there. So I'm going to go back to the yellow. So there you have two very different setups with the same fireplace. Crystals or logs, that's a personal preference. But it's all about how we set those flames. I think you would agree that these now look much more realistic than they did when we started and we had all those colored lights on. So focus on getting a natural flame color, as natural as you can get with the fireplace that you have. There will always be a choice of yellow and or orange. Natural flames are not red, and any manufacturer that had red in their flame color has gone away from that as they've developed newer models. Many people liked the red. I would agree the red in the ember bed is helpful because it looks like hot glowing coals, but red in the flames is not natural. So as much as you might like that, and you can certainly add it with the other colors, the flames should not be red. So orange and yellow are almost always an option on an electric fireplace. Stay away from the blue flame if you want it to look natural. The blue, obviously, a little bit of blue at the base of a gas flame would look very realistic, but a blue flame in and of itself is not going to help you with realism, and having those extra colors, what I call the disco lights, are going to take away from the realism of any electric fireplace. That's not to say that they're not fun to play with, especially in the off season, in the summer. We tell people all the time, please don't leave your fireplace off in the summer. Get over that mental break that says a fireplace is hot and I can't turn it on in the hot weather. With electric, we don't have to have the heater on to have the flames on. So if you're entertaining and you want to have this on rather than off, you don't have to have the heat on. And then you do play with the colors, and maybe you turn on the blues and the pinks and play around with it in the summertime. But you're not asking it to look like a fireplace at that point. You're having fun with the LED features. When you want it to look more realistic, focus on natural color flames, minimal downlighting or no downlighting, and a crystal color or an ember bed color that blends in with the flame color. That will give you the most realistic looking flames in an electric fireplace. You can read more about this in our stylish blog and in our FAQs on stylishfireplaces.ca.